Hello everyone, I'm Behram Irani and I'm a Senior Analytics Solutions Architect at AWS. And today in this session, we will look at how you can federate data in a modern data architecture. But before we go into the details of federating data, let's look at how a modern data architecture on AWS looks like. It starts with Amazon S3. Customers have been building data lakes on S3 longer than any other cloud provider, and today more data lakes run on AWS than anywhere else. In addition to the data lake, customers use a combination of our purpose-built database and analytical services like EMR, Amazon Elasticsearch, and Redshift to ensure that they are using the right tool for the job to get the high performance and scale at the lowest possible cost. To move their data between these systems, they use AWS Glue or Serverless Data Integration Service. And finally, they use AWS Lake Formation to manage the security and governance of all their data, regardless of whether it sits in the data lake or in the purpose-built stores. And in all of these cases, we have invested heavily in offering the best price performance out there. For the purpose of this presentation, let's take the example of a fake e-commerce company. This e-commerce company has been around for some time, and over time their technology stack has evolved, and teams in this organization use the data source which is the best fit for the applications that they are building. In this architecture, when user request first comes in, they are shown product catalog, and this product catalog is stored on Amazon Aurora, which is a relational data source. They have a payment service that uses HBase service running on EMR. They also have an order processing service which processes active orders, and that active order system is using Elasticache Redis. Their customer specific information such as email addresses, shipping addresses, and phone numbers are stored on DocumentDB. The company also has a bunch of infrastructure logs stored as CloudWatch logs and CloudWatch metrics, and these are used to debug issues that may happen. Our e-commerce company also has a business intelligence and business analytics team, and that team uses Amazon Redshift for long-term and historical analysis. And finally, they also have a shipment tracking service that relies on DynamoDB. So who are all the key personas in our e-commerce company? Anna is the analyst, Carlos is the administrator, Richard is the data engineer, and Maria is the data scientist. Here you can see some of the use cases of all these personas that we introduced. Anna runs SQL queries. She schedules reports to generate key performance metrics of the organization and also populates business dashboards. She also has to do a lot of ad hoc investigations. Carlos, he has the non-trivial task of creating, maintaining, and managing the data lake. He also has to specify access control policies for roles that exist in the organization. We then have Richard, who builds SaaS applications using Athena APIs, and he also helps Carlos by building ingestion pipelines and helps Maria by building application stacks that can be used for running machine learning inference jobs. And finally, Maria, our scientist, her primary focus is to build and train the most accurate machine learning models possible. She also helps analysts and other users in the organization to run machine learning inference jobs. Now let's have a quick look at the challenges that each of our personas are facing in their daily operational tasks. For Anna, data is spread across all these various sources, and in order to identify, say for example, all the customer orders that are stuck, she has to first rely on the data engineering team so that they can first complete all their ingestion in real time before she can run her analysis. Carlos is also struggling as again data is stored in a variety of applications. He has to build, maintain, and manage scaling of ingestion pipelines and workflows required to get all the data from all these sources into a central data lake. Additionally, teams want to continue to experiment and in case there is a new team that wants to experiment with a new technology, Carlos has to find a way to support that. Richard, our engineer, has to support multiple data formats. He has to learn how he can access and retrieve data from multiple data sources and has to do it all over again if a new data source is going to be used by the organization. And finally, Maria, in order to train her machine learning models, she is required to extract data from all these sources as fast as possible, and analysts in the organization are also relying on her for running machine learning inference jobs. As a result of that, she could be the bottleneck in the organization in that respect. So we discovered all the challenges faced by Anna the analyst, Carlos the administrator, Richard the data engineer, and Maria the data scientist. So how do we solve for all these challenges? Introducing federated query in Athena. So what is a federated query? If you have data in sources other than S3, you can use Athena federated query to query the data in place or build pipelines that extract data from multiple data sources and store them in Amazon S3. A federated query is a query that you can write in SQL, and that query can scan data from different data sources that could be relational or non-relational, or they could be your object data stores, or even they could be custom data stores. Regardless of whether you have data sources on the cloud or they could be hosted on-prem, the federate query would be able to scan data across both of them, and you can use this federated query in complex ETL pipelines for your ad hoc investigations and also in your applications. So why do we need a federated query in the first place? It is because of this picture, and now you can see we have a new source of data, which is advertising data. Now our e-commerce company could have decided to store this advertising data on an entirely new data source. So the point that I want to make here is that our architecture is going to evolve over time. Engineering team are going to use new data sources that they see better fit for their purpose, and aggregating all this data in a central repository is going to continue to be a challenge. And that is why you need to have federated query functionality to be able to extract data from all these different data sources for your ad hoc investigations. So what happens when you submit your federated query? When you submit your federated query to Athena, Athena first has to connect to the target data source, where we refer that data source as federated data source. To connect to that federated data source, Athena uses this new construct called federated data source connector. These connectors are basically connector codes which run in your account as Lambda functions. When you submit a federated query to Athena, we have the ability to invoke multiple Lambda functions in order to optimize your performance and filter the results in the most performant manner possible. You can think of a connector as an extension of Athena's query engine. When a query runs on a federated data source, Athena will fan out the Lambda invocations, reading metadata and data in parallel, and the number of these parallel invocations depend on the Lambda concurrency limits in your account. You can combine SQL statements from multiple catalogs and span multiple data sources with a single query. When a query is submitted against a data source, Athena invokes the corresponding connector to identify parts of the table that need to be read, manages parallelism, and pushes down the filter predicate to improve performance. So now the question is federated query simple to use? And we can confidently respond that yes, it is extremely simple to use federated queries. There are only 3 steps to follow. The first one is to deploy the data source connector. The second is to register the data source connector. And when you register your data source connector, you can specify a friendly name, which we refer that as catalog name. And later you can use this catalog name to refer to your federated data source in your Athena queries. And the third step is obviously to start writing your federated queries. In order to refer a table that exists in your federated data source, simply use three-part identifier syntax, which is your catalog name dot your database name dot your table name. So how do you deploy a data source connector? By now we all know that data source connectors are Lambda functions, and as such there are two easy ways to deploy data source connectors. First, you can use the one-click deploy using AWS Serverless Application Repository, or you can directly deploy using the connector code to Lambda. One way is to use one-click deploy and use an AWS service called Serverless Application Repository. This picture here shows that we have uploaded a connector that we also open sourced. It's called Athena CloudWatch Metric Connector. We have uploaded this connector code to Serverless Application Repository, and users can simply browse to this location, fill in just a few parameters, hit deploy, and they should be good to go. The second way is that you can use Lambda as UI or Lambda as API to upload the code manually to AWS Lambda. As you can see here, Athena team has uploaded a couple of connector codes to Lambda using Lambda APIs, and again, as soon as they are deployed, you should be able to use them in your federated query statements. Registering your connector is also extremely easy. You simply fire up Athena console, hit connect new sources, and you see a list of connectors that are available for you to use. In the next screen, you just fill in a couple of parameters including the catalog name to connect, and you start issuing your Athena queries. Additionally, we are also supporting a construct called registration-less federated query. We think this could be extremely useful for you to prototype before you register your connector and enable all your relevant teams in your organization to use that connector. So, to utilize registration-less mechanism, simply add the prefix lambda : function name, and this is the function name that you will use to deploy your connector as the catalog name. So for instance, in the query select star from lambda : cmdb, you are telling Athena to run a federated query using this function called cmdb. Here you can see a list of data source connectors that AWS has open sourced and published in Serverless Application Repository, where users can one-click deploy those connectors by providing and setting a few parameters. Pre-built Athena data source connectors exist for data sources like HBase, DocumentDB, DynamoDB, and we have also written a JDBC connector that lets you connect to data sources like Aurora and Redshift. To optimize performance, HBase parallelizes by region server and supports predicate pushdown. DocumentDB supports on-the-fly schema inference and also supports predicate pushdown. DynamoDB supports on-the-fly schema inference and also supports parallel scan and predicate pushdown. And JDBC connector sources also support parallel scans and predicate pushdown. We have also released connectors to connect to Elasticache Redis, CloudWatch Logs, CloudWatch Matrix, TPDS data generator. To optimize performance, Redis uses Redis Z sets, HMaps, or keys prefix to define tables in the Glue catalog and then query them using Athena. CloudWatch Log also supports parallel scan of log streams, predicate pushdown support, and also has rich regular expressions. CloudWatch Matrix supports parallel scan of metric namespaces and dimension as well as predicate pushdown. And TPDS data generator supports parallel scans and predicate pushdown. Continuing the list of data source connectors available today, Athena Federated Query also supports Elasticsearch, Neptune, TimeStream, Vertica, and CMDB. To optimize performance with Elasticsearch, currently we support shard-based parallel scans and pushdown predicates as part of the document search queries. For Neptune, we currently only support property graph model. For TimeStream, the recommendation is to return data less than 256 MB for the initial release. Vertica allows federated query to Vertica, which is a columnar data platform. And for CMDB, currently we do not allow parallel scans, and pushdown predicate is performed within the Lambda function, and where possible, partial predicates are returned to the service being queried. But what if you want to build your own data source connector? Well, for that purpose, we have also released a Query Federation SDK that you can use to write your own connector code to federate into your own data source. Some of the features of our Query Federation SDK are listed here, and I'm going to run through them quickly. One of the features of the SDK is that we use S3 spill, which is useful when the response of your request exceeds the capacity of the Lambda, and you can easily spill this to fulfill your request. Because we tell Athena the spill location ahead of time, at the time of deploying the connectors, Athena does not need to wait for our Lambda function to complete processing before it can go and get that data. Athena can prefetch and watch that S3 location, so as soon as data arrives, Athena can process it. We also support partition pruning to be able to scan only the relevant bits of information that your query requires and not to increase your data scan size. We also have the ability to invoke multiple Lambda functions in parallel in order to optimize performance of your queries. Additionally, we support your query request and your query response in Apache Arrow type. This also helps with improving performance of your queries. We provide you with identity of the users who have submitted the query. We also allow you to hook into authorization models that you want to implement for your authorization requirements. We also respect the fact that you could be running analytics or federated query against a data source that you use live in production or against a federated data source that is not as scalable as Athena is. And for that reason, we allow you to specify congestion control and avoidance mechanisms. Triance has published some of the popular custom-built connectors in the serverless application repository. You can find connectors for Snowflake, Oracle, Teradata, SQL Server, Google BigQuery, and SAP HANA in the serverless application repository. Using these connectors, you can quickly query data in these popular data stores by using Athena's federated query mechanism. Athena also helps to build ETL pipelines. Just by writing SQL queries, you can ingest and transform data from any of the supported data sources. So this is how self-service ETL job could look like using federated query. You can write one single federated query to get data from multiple data sources, and Athena writes all the query results in S3, and you can wrap this federated query around a create table as select, also known as CTAS, or insert into statement. So what this does is that it helps you write correct partitions in Glue data catalog. You can also specify the format of the data that you want to store in S3. And finally, to do this repeatedly or do as part of a regular workflow, you can schedule this using Lambda or using your specific scheduling application. Now to bring it all together, let's see how federated query helps our personas with their challenges. Anna, our analyst, is now able to select data from any data source for her analysis, and she's able to create a real-time data-driven narrative and identify which orders have been stuck or identify specific customers who might have been affected. Carlos, the administrator, can now deprecate old ingestion pipelines and instead move to a serverless ingestion pipeline using just a few SQL queries. Richard, our data engineer, does not need to learn different data access paradigms. He can use SQL to source data from any particular data source. He also does not need to help Carlos anymore to build and scale ingestion pipelines. And finally, Maria, our data scientist, can now use data from any data source to train her machine learning models, and that helps her to improve the accuracy of her machine learning models as well. So far, we have seen how you can use Athena to query external data sources using the federated query mechanism. But what if the data is already stored in a data warehouse like Amazon Redshift? Well, we have an answer for that too. Introducing federated query in Redshift. When it comes to Redshift as your data warehouse, you can work with data that's already loaded into Redshift, Also, you can work with data that resides in S3 data lake using the Redshift Spectrum layer. But now with the federated query capability in Redshift, you can query live data across one or more Amazon RDS and Aurora PostgreSQL database and get instant visibility into the end-to-end business operations with no data movement. This allows you to augment your data warehouse with new datasets in one easy step without having to set up and maintain complex ETL pipelines. You can enrich the insights by joining data from your Redshift data warehouse, data in your data lake, and now data in your operational stores to make better data-driven decisions that matter to your business. Redshift offers sophisticated optimizations to reduce data movement over network and complements it with massively parallel data processing to enable high performance query experience to users. And we are expanding this capability to other sources of data as well. We recently added Amazon RDS for MySQL and Amazon Aurora for MySQL as a source for Redshift federated queries. Let's look at some of the use cases for Redshift federated query. You can federate queries to incorporate live data as part of your business intelligence and reporting applications. For example, to make data ingestion to Redshift easier, you can use federated queries to do the following. Query operational databases directly. Customers store the live transactional data in a relational database like PostgreSQL and MySQL, and historical data is loaded frequently in Redshift for analysis. Using Redshift federated queries, users can now join data sets from across these heterogeneous data stores without loading the live data in Redshift first. You can also load data into the target tables without the need for complex extract, transform, and load pipelines. To reduce data movement over the network and improve performance, Amazon Redshift distributes part of the computation for federated queries directly into the remote operational database. Amazon Redshift also uses its parallel processing capacity to support running these queries as needed. When running federated queries, Amazon Redshift first makes a client connection to the RDS or Aurora DB instance from the leader node to retrieve table metadata. From a compute node, Amazon Redshift issues a subquery with a predicate pushdown and retrieves the result rows. Amazon Redshift then distributes the result rows among the compute nodes for further processing. It is also easy to configure and use Redshift federated queries. First, you just create an external schema with different parameters, and then you can start writing your query directly querying the tables from that external data source. And finally, to wrap this up, let's look at the call to action. Identify any use cases that would benefit from the federated query access. Once you have identified the use cases, you may want to try out the hands-on workshops that we have for Athena as well as for Redshift. This brings us to the conclusion of this video presentation. As modern data architecture further evolves in the future, data federation will continue to play a big part in how we seamlessly get access to all kinds of data from multiple sources so that we can derive faster insights into the data. Thank you for watching this video.